Hello, good evening, good night, podcast fans. It is Do You Expect to Talk commentary time. And after we finished our very long run of Marvel, which is about as long as our original Bond series, we are reaching our final commentary, and it is my choice. I should introduce everyone. I am Chris, Suntrunks on Twitter, and joining me is Mr. David Bond.
Good evening, folks.
And Miss Rebecca Actions.
Hello.
And this is, as I said, it is my choice, and as we announced on our Endgame, it is Black Panther.
As great as this film is, though, following Endgame with anything Marvel that isn't ranking now feels a bit anticlimactic.
I wonder where this is going to go.
This is like you've just finished watching the Champions League final, and then you've stuck on a video of your favourite ever pre-season friendly.
Yeah.
The
real annoying thing is, though, and I kind of thought this before seeing Endgame, and ideally Endgame would be my choice of commentary. Just not even on the fact that it's Endgame, it's the final one or the latest one. It's just I just had a feeling that even as a film itself, it'll be great as a commentary. And I kind of.
And it would be our longest show ever if we did it. By the time you top and tail it with much more
hours,
than hello.
Yeah.
So I think we have to commit to doing an Endgame commentary one day, but it won't be in this series. It will be when we revisit Marvel at some point.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we already got Spider-Man coming up, which I actually that looks really good. I'm actually really.
It does now.
I can't wait for that one.
It does now. They can show the full trailer.
Yeah.
They only showed a teaser before, and I thought it looked fairly weak. But obviously, they've now been able to show more, albeit it will still have a ton of misdirection in it because that's the way Marvel do these things. But yeah, it looks pretty good now.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and obviously,
can't wait.
Yeah.
Obviously they're doing. Obviously they announced their new slate now, haven't they? They got Doctor Strange coming up. Obviously, you got the usual ones. Got Black Widow coming up as well. We'll find out whether that's actually a sequel.
Yeah, we will get the full slate. I mean, you can guess it actually. I mean, if you look at all the Disney slots, for the next few years, you can actually start putting films next to them. Really, not necessarily in what order, but we know we got Black Widow. We know, and it won't be one of the Disney films because they don't distribute, but there'll be a third Spider-Man film without question. There'll be what's he called? The Chinese martial artist whose name's completely just escaped me. There'll be a Guardians 3. There'll be a Doctor Strange 2. And loads more that I'm struggling to remember now. But I was
Black Panther 2.
Black Panther 2, of course. Yeah, when I was trying to think of it the other day, I was able to know that. I think there was one slot I wasn't able to fill, if you like. But then you think, well, they like their trilogies, and there might be a third Ant-Man film, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. In terms of our running order, we, from the perspective of listeners, you haven't and won't miss a show, at least not anytime soon, because we've just done our forward schedule. But one of our number is about to go on holiday, literally, and another of our number has been unavailable for the last week and a half. So just personal,
can't get the star.
Just life getting it. I'm not blaming anyone. All I'm going to say to listeners is neither of those people were me. But
yeah, Dave, you're unavailable and you're going on holiday.
Yeah, I've been neither unavailable nor am I going anywhere. But so you won't miss an episode. But we had
everybody.
We had buffer episodes. We pre-recorded Captain Marvel and everything else. So we're now in a position where we've lost that buffer and we're trying to do things we can record quickly. Well, tonight is a commentary. The next episode was going to be Music of Marvel. We've postponed it. We do not have time to prep that episode and keep our schedule. And we had a word with Charlie earlier tonight, and we've actually pushed that back. But he has recommitted to joining us for the Terminator later in the year. I thought he'd be upset because he'd done a load of work for it or something, and I think he was quite relieved actually. He probably hasn't had enough time, to be honest, either, and we don't. So we've only got the 2 Marvel episodes now, tonight and the rankings, which is the next episode, followed by a James Bond commentary, which is something else we can knock out fairly quickly. And by mid-June, we'll be making, in terms of from perspective of release, we'll be making a start on Mission Impossible. So that's our forward schedule.
All good times. So, so why don't we just crack on with it, shall we?
We really ought to crack on, because this is a long film, and we're starting fairly late as well, so we're going to get on with this.
So,
some time.
So, I don't know about everyone else. I'm watching on Netflix, so that's me.
I've got it. Yeah, you've got a VPN. The thing is, I tried a VPN. It worked great. Then I flipped out of the VPN to use like the iPlayer or something. And when I tried to go back into Netflix, they were like, "You're using a VPN." But okay. So
sometimes they can get wise to it.
Well, I think it was the fact I signed in from California and Cornwall within about 4 minutes.
Super fast.
That might have been my flaw.
Right.
So anyway, I've got a rip, so I'll just start. Well, I'll start roughly when you do.
Great. So like, so
Blu-ray.
Yeah. So like, you know, like 2/3 of us are actually watching this illegally. Well,
yeah.
Ish.
You're sort of paying for something.
Neither of you two aren't. Not me, basically. I'm doing it legally with the physical copy.
So, all right. So,
this
on
is
the count of 3. On the count of 3.
Okay.
I'm ready.
2 and 3.
My body is ready.
And away we go. It's quite a first one of a plus player. I thought, is it playing? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, it was like dark for a while,
thing.
wasn't it? I thought that, and I'm on a rip as well, so I was a bit like, what's going on here? So here we are with the ecological disaster in Not Ghana. Was it Not Ghana? I forget where I looked at a map of Africa and thought, right, that is roughly where that country is, and I forget which one it was now.
Yeah, you have to sort of think where it is, so...
Yeah, wouldn't that just destroy everything, though?
No, it turned you into, like, a superhero.
Okay.
I mean, dinosaurs probably died of something else, and before they died, they probably had their own cinematic universe.
Dino, MCU.
I was thinking...
I do love these visuals, that's super cool.
I was thinking we may never do a series longer than this, but there is one series we might do that might be longer than this one day. Pixar.
Which is?
I think, I wonder if this...
Oh, right.
With the way things are turning out, I do wonder if this is like the future of filmmaking, like it has to be in a universe or it has to be in some franchise rather than a standalone.
That would carry weight
Which is...
if all the other studios had copied it well, but they haven't.
No.
Everyone's had a go at this and kind of failed, really, haven't they?
Exactly. Only Marvel can do it.
I think things always change. So, in some respects, yeah, but I don't know. I think there's always an element of waiting things to kind of new things to come along and take over. But individual stories, I don't think will always be around.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
We see the spaceship flying across there.
Now, interested to see I don't know what's on the telly there, but this is obviously the year of like the Rodney King.
Yeah.
Well, not the beating.
Yeah.
The riots were this year.
Yeah, the riots.
Because he was beaten in '91, I think, and then the cops were all charged with whatever they were charged for that, and they were all acquitted, despite that video footage being rather clear, and it led to several days of rioting. And I don't think they will have chosen 1992 by accident.
No, it's all by design. No.
Do you think, like, T'Chaka walked through the lobby of, like, was just walking down the street and then the lobby of that place and everything dressed in the Black Panther outfit?
What, giving a nod to the clean lady?
Or is he
Ethan?
or is he stood in the hallway now just desperately changing his pants and stuff? Hang on! Right, knock now. Now, I know that neither of those are Okoye, but when you see Okoye, she's got no hair. And whenever I see her at red carpets events and stuff, she's got a full head of long hair.
Yeah.
So is it a bald cap, CG, or what?
I don't know.
The same job with them, you know.
It could be either, because didn't Karen Gillan did, like, she was both the first Guardians.
She shaved it for that because she turned up at Comic-Con looking like her and then took the wig off.
And then, but then the other ones have been a wig, has been like a ball cap, though, haven't they?
Yeah, but she's in full body like makeup, isn't she? Okoye's not, and I don't know how good bald caps are now. I suppose you could tidy it up with CG, couldn't you?
You could.
Like any joins or seams or tufts or whatever.
So,
yeah.
So who's the actor playing young?
That's the guy playing T'Chaka. That's older T'Chaka's real life son.
Yes, that was it.
I think I mentioned
saying
it
on the podcast.
Well, I had to look it up because he didn't look like a younger version of the same man. So I thought it's not de-aged. I've got no opinion on whether they look alike. They have not de-aged Andy Serkis enough there for 1992.
And he does actually look like he does look very similar to Chadwick Boseman as well.
They could be related, I would say. Yeah.
If he said, "Oh, that's my dad when he was younger," you'll go, "Yeah, I believe
it." The shape of the hairline and the eyes, there's a similarity. Definitely. And I like the fact that their Black Panther outfit is subtly different as well. They do have their own sort of identity in the outfit.
They're different.
Yeah. I never understood what that was either. Is that something that's tattooed on them when they're babies?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be my guess, but of course there's vibranium in their environment, so I thought, is that some weird birthmark they all develop there?
It's in the water. Well,
yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, there's something in their environment.
It's never really thing, but then...
It doesn't matter.
But then Think has it though, doesn't he? You know, Killmonger.
Yeah. And, oh hang on, yeah. And he probably wasn't even born there, was he?
I don't think he was.
I don't know then. This has one of the strongest Marvel Act 1s, really. Really, really efficient setup. We've learned everything we need to know.
Yeah, in a short space of time, it's really good.
We get a decent opening action sequence from the Black Panther if you never saw Civil War, so you get a feel for what he can do. You get all that you need to know of his investiture. Talking of investiture, that's what Becca's holiday is later in this month. She's becoming Batman.
Investiture as Batman.
I think it's make or break for the Do You Expect Us to Talk team, really, because my year as Batman, crime went down even during austerity. Chris presided over the first rise in crime since 2010. So really,
I've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
What year was mine? What was mine then? Was it? I can't remember.
You were 2017 to 18, weren't you?
Yeah, I blame Theresa May for that.
Yeah. There you go. Just a poor Prime Minister.
Of course,
I mean, fuck it. I made it fucking well because everyone else is, because quite frankly, everything is her fault.
No, they are blaming. Sorry, I just picked up on the word you said there. They are reporting T'Chaka's death and the events of Civil War with Zemo, which means this is like within a few days of that, if not the next day or whatever. And he's about to become king and all the rest of it. So as far as I'm concerned, this takes place in 2016, which in every Marvel timeline you ever see, where particularly in the lead up to Endgame, where they're saying what order you could watch the films in, the chronological one always seems to put it in the wrong year. It puts it present day to when it was made. That doesn't make a lot of sense. This seems to be taking place a year or two before the release of the film. Okoye didn't make a lot of impression on me the first time I saw this film. It's what I really think of. One thing that speaks very highly from this film is it's getting better with repeat viewings. When I first saw it, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Characters like Okoye, I thought she looked pretty cool, but I couldn't remember her name and things like that. Whereas now she's like a really great character. And that's not off more screen time because there wasn't a lot of her in the Avengers films. So this film, I think, is going to date really, really well. This looks a little bit studio-ish here. But apart...
Yeah, you can kind of tell when we're going to backcourt somewhere.
It looked great in the trailer, though. Like, when I seen this, I thought, like...
Well, I never freeze and just jumping out of the plane in that.
Yeah.
Well, that was a bit of a... I mean, it's his second appearance, don't forget. And when you think the second appearance is... Well, no, I'm going to get that wrong, aren't I? Certainly the second Iron Man film starts with him jumping out of a plane. And the second Captain America film started with him jumping out of a plane. It feels very Marvel to do that. But they've certainly got... I mean, they've just had the logo already.
Hulk did it as well. Remember?
That was towards the... Yeah, he did. But I'm saying, like, almost the first things they did in those films were that. There's a lot of Bond in this first act or so of this film. It's all different stunts, but... I mean, James Bond couldn't do any of this, a bit like the sort of casino stuff later. But the whole way it's set up is very Bond. You know, just turns up in the middle of somewhere to break something up. This is very pre-title.
Oh, definitely. And then you got the Q scene later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty much the Marvel Bond movie.
Yeah, and I think that's what disappointed me first time, because I saw a bit of early buzz that said there's quite a bit of James Bond in this, you know. And then I went to see it, and that dropped away after that Busan sequence. It doesn't feel like a Bond film after that.
It's kind of literally got that kind of... I think the I Never Freeze kind of bit is quite Bondish a little bit. You've got the Q scene, and then you've got the casino in Busan, definitely. And I think they're the similarities in... But you can see the influence, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, if it was Bond, he'd shag her now, wouldn't he? As soon as the danger's done. I've been waiting for a real man. Yeah. Sorry, I watched The Living Daylights the other day on tele. But honestly, you'd think I was in The Hague. Becca really picked me up for like my complete hypocrisy, because I've spent years slagging off like watching Bond on TV and stuff, and then I watched it
I
online.
nearly fell off my chair listening.
She was totally like, "What are you doing watching it on TV?"
What Becca did a Ted Danson impression.
She did, and I was like, "Well, I just got sick
couldn't
of
believe
these...
I thought, are you being sarky? No.
No, I just got sick of good picture quality and no adverts.
ITV editing bits out.
You were longing for the days where we used to like sort of like, you know, take the Bond films on VHS and just like watch them back. So
yeah,
your idea.
I mean,
I think for years before I got the DVD, that's how I survived with Bond movies.
Do they still edit films now as well?
Yeah, they did.
They do.
The key scene is when you think when he first encounters Pushkin in the film. It's in a hotel room. Yeah. Pushkin presses some button to alert security outside, and he rips the top off that woman. And as they burst in, you see side boob, and they've cut that shot.
Cut side boob. Also, when they showed Spectre for the first time, they cut out the bit where that Spanish guy's eyes get gouged out.
Right. That wasn't particularly graphic in the film, but I can understand it.
Yeah, they chop it out.
They normally cut out the exploding head from License to Kill as well. Anything headbutts get cut. Quite a bit gets cut, actually, but I did notice that. But no, I just started watching the pre-title and thought this will do for a bit, and then watched the whole thing. But it is Dalton. Yeah. Well, it's something to do on a Sunday until I can get, sucked off.
But I wonder where you're going with that.
In the absence of anyone in my life, I can't get sucked off, so I just let myself get sucked in.
Oh, Dave.
So, I really would like any sequel.
If you'd like to sub Dave off, please
send us an email.
talk@gmail.com. I would hope in any sequel we see a little bit more of street level Wakanda, because we see a lot of shots from this sort of height, and I think we see them on one basic sort of street level set later, apart from where they land and all the rest of it, and that's it. I'd like to see a bit more of. I don't know if this is meant to be all of Wakanda effectively, or whether there's just one big city at the centre of it, or what. I don't really know.
I think in Black Panther 2, I'd like to see him go rogue, because then it would be like a Bond film.
What? And I'd also like to see Marvel argue that they're still relevant in today's world.
And despite having history of like globe-trotting, just sort of bring everything back home and make it all about it's all about him. It's all about his personal story.
Yeah. I hope we find like he went to school with like Doctor Doom or something.
That'd be very interesting.
Anyway, it's not Madge Sinclair.
No, surprisingly not Madge Sinclair.
I got massive Coming to America vibes off her.
I can't sing.
No, you can't. But I reckon you probably could, but you were a bit self-conscious there. And not only that, you got mixed up with living in America.
I did. I know the actual theme. It's fine.
Sure. I forgot to say, it took me aback to see her on the battlefield Shuri in Endgame. Because it's like it would be like having Desmond Llewellyn there.
Pay attention, 007.
I'm just going to twat this guy here.
It did strike me as a bit of a what the fuck is she doing there? I mean, I know she's got her blasters, but like,
yeah, she's
really. I mean,
see her on the
she's your home science person with a hint of snark. That's what she is. But there you go. I tell you what, watching The Living Daylights the other day, Desmond Llewellyn had the really, really swollen fingers in that as well. I noticed.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with his hands. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I've never noticed his swollen fingers, so I'm gonna have to
I think you might even have
pay
pointed
attention.
out, Chris. Pay attention, Christopher. I think it might be. I think it's really noticeable in Goldeneye. Just the whole way that Q scene is shot shows up every issue he has. Mm-hmm. But I watched the Living Daylights obviously like 8 years earlier, and he had really swollen fingers there. And I just know from people I've known in life over the years, sometimes like swelling is like water retention, which is sometimes heart failure. Yeah. But I suppose in the fingers it could even be arthritis. I don't know.
It's probably more likely. It tends to be more on the legs, heart failure.
Hey, wasn't that woman like in EastEnders or something like decades ago?
Which one? What?
The one talking to him. Isn't that like Natalie who shagged Ricky or something? I haven't watched EastEnders in 25 years, but I tell you what, it looks like her.
Let's have a look.
IMDb. I was just trying to think of if there's ever been more hipster villains, and the only one I can think of is the new Lex Luthor in the Batman v Superman.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was a quality.
He's a hipster,
film.
isn't he?
Well, but I was like, would he qualify as hipster? Because he's going full on hipster here.
He is quite.
Do you know what? In that,
he's like full on like New York City kind of like.
I was going to say define hipster.
Well, yeah.
He's not drinking the coffee.
That's a good one. I mean, yeah, but do you know what I mean? That kind of dresses really, really fancy, but
with
really,
Lex, it always looks
looks a bit daft. You know what I mean? Like, just sort of dresses up for the sake of it, rather than trying to be cool.
I don't know really. I mean, I know with Lex, I thought every decision they made there was a little bit odd, and I wondered if it was more about focus groups than anything else, because I'm not convinced that's anyone's first choice for a take on Lex Luthor. I mean, DC are actually sort of starting to churn the films out now a little bit, so one day we'll have like a viable run of films to cover, really. So we will do DC one day, I'm sure, but certainly the first several entries were really patchy and flat out bad in
question,
places.
Dave. No, she was in episodes of ER and Law and Order.
Okay.
According to IMDb.
So she didn't sleep with Ricky. But
oh dear.
But yeah, I think with Lex, he just never really proper. There's just no real decent character work there. There was no like. It it was like I think they sort of like hinted the fact that he was Son.
It was a little bit better
So, kind
in
of-
the it was a little bit better in the extended cut, but I mean slightly. You had a slightly better idea what he was doing, but it's still a dreadful film. And what makes me laugh on sort of social media is there is a small but very sort of vocal group of people that seem to think it's some kind of misunderstood masterpiece. And if we don't get it, we're like too stupid and didn't understand it, and we prefer the easier charms of Marvel. And it's like, it's not, it's a bad film. It's just a bad film. The longer version is better, but only by comparison, in that the review we gave the theatrical version when we covered it on a podcast, it had there only been the director's version, if you like, the longer version, we'd have given that pretty much the same review. It's just by comparison, it's very, very slightly better.
It just explains more things, really.
The connective tissue between some of the scenes is a bit better, yeah.
Mm.
This looks great until they get to the actual battleground. And then it looks really, really studio.
So how does that work? Just send like a big
That was
shockwave
like a
through the
little
water.
shockwave, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know how that works. Vibranium tends to be the answer to all your questions.
Vibranium, generally.
They've basically just pulled out 4 plugs or whatever it is. They've just basically pulled the plug out.
Yeah, vibranium is also a material and technology. There you are.
Well, it's just later in the film when Martin Freeman's like, "How did you fix me?" And they're like, "Vibranium," and it's like, "All right, well, you tend to make shields and weapons out of it chiefly. How?" But yeah, from here on, just as he comes
it may
out
as well
onto
just call it magic.
I mean, when I first saw this film, I didn't like this set. I didn't like how many times they took away and gave him back his powers. I thought that was kind of cheapening it. I didn't like the fact that it took on this Bond tone and then sort of seemed to dump it. So I enjoyed the film. I liked it. I was more positive than that would sound. But in the year or so since, I've seen it another 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times, something like that, and it gets better on every viewing. The side characters become richer. Now, maybe that was partly the whole kind of Western thing of their names were a bit more unfamiliar and didn't stick as quickly. I don't know. But it's got much, much better in the years since it was released. Now, that is digital sky behind them, and it's I don't like it.
It can seem a bit obvious, doesn't it? It's a little bit... The lighting seems a bit off.
Yeah. They're stood in a studio doing that bit, you know.
Mm. But still, no, it looks really good though.
I don't mind CG. It's only when you point it out. I mean, some of the sets in Endgame, particularly at like the Avengers HQ and stuff, it's green screen, and you can't really tell. There's lots of questions about this that they'll probably never answer. Like, how did they get there before their technology got this far to fight there? Because they've done all that pulling out the plug thing. And also, is it always like a male heir? Like,
Yeah, can it be female?
Could that have been Shuri stood there ready to get the shit kicked out of her by some big burly
That's
fella?
true.
Well, she does kind of like say it, and they go, "What, really?" And she goes, "Can we just go home, please?"
Oh, what, the challenge thing?
Yeah, just now, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
The costumes and makeup, truly epic.
It was just, I mean, box office never has a direct relationship with quality, but it definitely has a relationship with demand. And I think the money this did, particularly at the US box office, as a proportion of its worldwide take as well, told you that there was pent-up demand there for this.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is probably the biggest if most cynical argument for representation. I think in hindsight that's why I'm slightly disappointed by Captain Marvel, which is not sitting as well with me over time. That they've so got their shit together now that to get such a perfunctory, albeit good, Marvel film was like almost a disappointment at this stage, because almost everything they're doing is standing out now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's worse. Captain Marvel's kind of diminished even more to me. I think it's one of the worst Marvel films. But that's not a knock on anyone particularly. It's just not very well written or.
I'll rank it significantly higher than you, because there's some at the bottom that are just, it's way better than. But I know recently looking at my rankings, a couple of things I had it in front of, it's now gone behind, because I just think I can't justify that. I can't justify it being behind that.
Yeah.
Or ahead of that.
I think partly after seeing Endgame as well, you're thinking, oh, will this elevate her? And he goes,
no, not
she's
really.
barely in it. And
no.
I will say this though, because in our review, I did make the point, and I still stand by it, the fact that we do not know who she is as a person.
That's the biggest flaw. It lacks some of the heart. I mean, I said at the time, so this isn't just me going, I got it wrong or whatever. Or,
you were like, said, oh shit, you're right, aren't you?
What I said at the time was, I gave it a 4-star review. I was and in between 3 and 4, and almost as soon as I submitted it, I thought, no, that's generous. It's actually a 3. So it isn't Spectre syndrome where after the hype goes away, I start thinking, oh Christ. Genuinely, at the time, I was a bit undecided. As a first impression, it was a first impression, and most of what I said was accurate enough, so I don't really have a problem with it. It's just I rarely think about that film, and when I do think about that film, it doesn't stand out. And there's some films in the canon that are way more flawed that I might have to put ahead of it because they have a bit more heart or whatever.
Yeah,
it's not in the same league as this film.
No, it's things so it has its moments, it has its like performances. I
think it's really solid though. I
not Ben Whishaw, sorry.
I don't know.
No, the baddie, but not the baddie. What's his name?
Ben Mendelsohn.
That's it, Ben Mendelsohn. Things like that, and certain ideas. I think even Jude Law's actually pretty decent in it as well.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not going to suddenly turn to slagging it, because I think it's one of the better paced Marvel films. It's really, really well paced, and it's really efficiently sort of told as a story.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to it. I really do. I think it's a very standard Marvel film as well. If you said, well, what's a Marvel film like? You could hand them that and go, that's what a Marvel film's like. It's really, really typical. And it doesn't have that horrendous third act drop off, so it still has to rank fairly high for me. There's particularly some of the Phase 1 stuff, and even some of Phase 2. I'm going to have to rank way below it, because it's just like pretty crap actually. And that film isn't, but all I'm saying is, a year on from this, I was hoping for like a similar sort of standard, and it isn't.
But what I was going to say, there was, after seeing Endgame, there was a moment in it, and it kind of reflected in. There's even a moment in her film as well, where she's standing over Peter Parker and she's going like, "You got something for me?" And that, do you know what I mean? The kind of
Hello,
hey Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And there's also the moment in her film where she's like, "Oh hey Trouble."
The trolls,
I think
trolls will never admit it, but those are the couple of moments where you go, yeah, she's a film star.
And that's where her character needs to. I mean, after I saw Endgame, I was like, and I thought, yeah, and she does it in that. That's where. I mean, I have no idea what her character is, but that's where it needs to be centralized. It needs to be from that specific element, and build up from there. And then it's kind of like.
I think the thing is, because she was going from trainee to like, slightly sassy to fish out of water to superhero.
Yeah.
As an acting performance, it's a tough ask, and actually
knowing everything, to not really know who you
but
are.
all of those things are valid. All of those things are valid, but obviously it's not a surprise at the end of the film where you go, actually, which one is she?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I get it. So, T'Challa's won something. What do you reckon he's won? Do you think it's a speedboat?
He's won the Academy Award.
No, he didn't even win that. No, he was nominated. No, the only thing I was thinking of here was like, you know, when like he takes the thing that takes his powers and they go for everyone and say, do any of you challenge? You know, no. Do any of you challenge? No. Would it be easy just to go do that bit first, and then if anyone does challenge, then
rather
take
than just going, oh, we wasted another fucking plant for that. No, it just hand him a drink and go, we might as well just have that straight back.
I mean, unless they always have to do the vision thing again, but I don't know. Just seems a bit pointless, really.
I just had a problem with that in the film. This film is it's not perfect. It's not quite. I don't think it's quite like top 3 or 4 or anything. Yeah. I think there's flaws in it, but it's another one of those films that I think the sequel would be better. And I'm happy to go back and spend more time in this world, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea where they're going to go with the sequel, but I'm looking forward to finding out.
But it's still Coogler.
Yeah.
That man is building quite the career.
He is.
I mean, he's definitely a talented guy, definitely. I mean, you know, just from Creed alone, you can tell that, you know, he's able to make a film.
Definitely. Not to be confused with Assassin's Creed, which was less successful.
It was not how to make a film.
Which was a shame because I really like that game series.
Yeah, it's always a difficult thing, isn't it? Sort of making the jump from. I mean, book to film is another kettle of fish, but making the leap from games console to film.
Yeah.
Well, there's never been a successful video game movie, though, has there?
I don't know.
At least, I mean, maybe not.
Movie.
Defined successful as well.
Because
on their own terms, the Resident Evil films were quite successful.
I don't know how like the
they weren't any good though.
Tomb Raider film.
I think that's what I meant. Like, well received, nothing like deemed as like, oh, that's good.
So you're saying there hasn't been one that's critically acclaimed and done fairly well as well?
Yeah.
So for argument's sake, and this is a bit arbitrary, a video game film that's done that's got like really good reviews and done over, let's say, $400 million or something like that. No,
yeah.
I don't think so.
Though that said, World of Warcraft could get Warcraft got unnecessarily slated though. It just felt like everyone was out to get that film for whatever reason. I was just like, I don't think
it would have got many casual people in because I'm really broad-minded on what I watch, and I just took a few look at screenshots and went nah. So I would imagine very casual cinema goers probably looked at it and went nah, that's not for me.
No, but in terms of how it's, you know, how the other critics
received.
went at it. Yeah.
Well, like I say, I haven't seen it. I know Duncan Jones is frustrating to me only because of how strong he started. Little bit like Neil Blomkamp that way. That you just go, they look like they were going to have amazing. Yeah, it's got 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, Chris, and that's off 220 odd reviews. That is a fair number to draw an accurate.
What's the audience score though?
77.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but I normally tend to hew closer to the critical one because audiences are twats generally. Not our listeners, of course.
No, I generally seem to like. I'm quite interested in. I tend to look at both and I have it on balance. It's like one. Audiences generally tend to have like different preferences than critics do, and sometimes you'll see when critics overpraise film, the audience.
I'm always suspicious.
Just generally downplay it.
I think that normally when the audience score is significantly lower, that's normally a sign that like they either didn't get it or they're trolling it. That's often the case. When it's higher, less so. I don't know. But no, I mean, I'm normally going to be in line with critical. But I mean, I'll believe you if you're telling me that is not a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes film in your opinion. Even if we were to disagree on that film, I would take you at your word on that. That's probably too harsh.
Yeah.
And
it's about a 3-star film, probably.
Duncan Jones is a better filmmaker than that, but then, I mean, he started with well, in terms of like big screen, he started with Moon, which was outstanding.
Went on
to do Source Code, which was good. And then he's done like Warcraft and Mute, both of which have been slaughtered.
I felt bad for Mute because that had quite a lot of hype attached to it, and then obviously just coming out on Netflix. I kind of think that obviously Netflix is a massive platform, but I kind of can't help but feel that may have been detrimental to it in some way. But it's such a shame, really.
Yeah. I definitely want to see more of this in the sequel, though. He's at street level in Wakanda now, but we don't see a lot of street level in Wakanda. We see its skyline, effectively. And even at the end of Endgame, when you see them looking down on it at night, in one of the final shots, I'm thinking, I want to get down there and have a look. I mean, I'm not suggesting they should have added another 3 or 4 minutes of it in Endgame, but I'm just going, no, I want to see more of that. Not now, necessarily, but...
I mean, like, on street level, it looks like every other African...
yeah, but it looks like a set as well, because they've only filming little bits. I'd just like to see more of that. Oh, that's not particularly good CG. I hadn't noticed that before. That animal they just said fed did not look particularly real. Yeah.
No. Fake creature.
But again, they're always a bit more careful on the first entry in a sort of new sub property, if you like. Because they don't know how well it's going to do. They'll spunk money over the sequel.
Yeah, definitely.
I just hope they build a few more interesting sets and stuff.
I'm sure they will, because there's like a whole lot of Wakanda to get to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't never really sold on his kind of like the way it turned out for his mate here. It just felt like a little bit too, a bit too like easy for him to go like, yeah, well, I'm just gonna go all treasonous and there's no consequences afterwards.
And then at the end, it's like, I'm not now. Why? Because Okoye said not to.
Yeah,
and she's my woman.
It just seems to be like, well, hang on, so you just do treason? Isn't that like quite a? I mean, what happened to him? I mean, is he like? Does he still have that title? Is all forgiven or what?
The implication appears to be at the end of the film, all's forgiven.
But how many of everyone else's people have died because of this kind of very brief civil war? Like, it just seems, do you know what I mean? That's the thing that kind of like, I was like,
if it was me, I'd be making it a strong point in my defence that they were all actors. I'd just be saying.
So no one ever really died because it wasn't real.
It wasn't real. Don't worry. I would point out you're an actor as well, Your Majesty, but like I don't want to be cheeky, so I won't.
Majesty.
In my defence, I was only doing what the script told me to do.
Yeah. Hey, and I soon changed my tune when I was threatened with being denied sex, so that should be good enough. There you go, the Marvel Vanilla Sky.
Oh.
There's just a very distinctive look. It really hits home when you go back and watch some of Phase 1 when they're still building the format. And it's one of the striking things that makes Incredible Hulk even less a Marvel film. It doesn't look like one. It isn't just that it isn't scripted like one, it doesn't look like one either.
Yeah, Iron Man sort of was the first one. That still was trying to find its place, wasn't it? It wasn't. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I think the thing is that was the most successful. I mean, they released 2 within about a month, and the first one was the more successful, and it was almost like they lent into that thereafter. So Marvel seems to be made in the image of that film or the cinematic universe in its tone. I might be completely wrong on that. They might all be getting their tone from like the comics. I don't know. I've read more DC than I've read Marvel. So.
Are you? Who's your favourite DC?
Well, I've always liked Batman, so I've read more of that, and I've read bits and pieces of Superman as well. They're the only two I massively care about, to be fair. So I'm certainly not a fanboy, as it could be characterised, of one or the other.
Are you a fan man?
But
they're two big dogs, aren't they? Really.
But pre the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you'd said to me you have to lose one of those universes, like all the characters disappear, I'd have let Marvel go, because like my favourites were DC. But I mean, I've always loved Spider-Man and I've always loved the Hulk as well, so there ain't a lot in it. But my two favourites, if you like, are DC. So, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe must be having an effect on comic book sales as well. It must be. I mean, you've got to think, if you're a kid now, why would you go and buy any fucking DC? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I am not a kid, but I'm pretty sure DC are doing pretty well in other areas. I mean, maybe not in cinematic universe terms, but
it must be more driven that way round, though. Do you know what I mean? There must be so many who go and experiment with different comic books because of the films they've seen.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, we've got Batman films coming, and Batman films will always do well.
Yeah.
And Shazam did fairly well. So, but what I'm saying is the landscape of what kids buy now must be very different to 20 years ago. There we go.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say as a guy in his 30s to know what kids are into these days.
So yeah. Anyway, that there is. So this is obviously the Q scene, and I think this is very. It set the precedent of something I don't like the nanotech. It's one bit of the Marvel Cinematic Universe I don't like. But then it makes kind of a sense, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it just doesn't have any. It was all just like, yeah, it's nanotech. It's great. It does this. There's no real sense of people have actually figured this shit out. Do you know what I mean? There's no sort of. It just feels like, oh, look at this stuff. We realise it does this. This is great. This. It's like my problem with her as a character. Really, it's not just like she doesn't really come across as an inventor. She's just more as a designer. Really,
Infinity War, she's doing some quite hardcore surgery on Vision to try and save him. So I think it was sold there.
Then again, it's like, but she's just using a machine to do that. She's just, I'm just like operate a machine that does that.
It's quite intricate microsurgery. It's sold to me anyway.
Yeah.
I like the fact that this actress clearly has a full head of hair in real life, and yet there she is in a wig that looks fake as shit. It's really funny, and deliberately so, I think. Like, she's not meant to look that comfortable. It's quite comedic without being hitting you over the head.
Yeah, without being too obvious.
Bond never wanders around a fish market first, does he? He finishes the evening with fish fingers.
Return to Korea again, never know.
Have you seen insert Bond film here?
Yes. Have you seen this film? I mean, did you even see?
Mind you, we've learnt from A View to a Kill. If only he'd said, "Have you got any soft shell crabs?" They would have immediately shown CIA credentials.
If the actor Sid Mann pops up, then we'll know.
Isn't that set beautiful?
Yeah.
It looks gorgeous.
It is very.
Actually, shot on location in Pinewood. No, I don't know.
In actual design, it's not as close to Skyfall as you're thinking, but it's lit like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lighting is very much similar here, definitely.
The colour palette's like it. Remember that had a pit with dragons in it for some fucking reason, you know. But the lighting is similar.
Just so you can go. It's a circle of life.
Yeah.
I think the dragons were meant to be a callback to something like Live and Let Die, for example.
Yeah, I think it was entirely that.
I don't know. He's got gold sparkles in his suit.
I'm just not that sold that those Komodo dragons would actually be that lethal the way they actually are.
Hmm.
I
don't
mean,
know.
they're not exactly like crocodiles, are they?
Yeah, but he got a shag out of it at the end of the evening. Not off a dragon, admittedly. But, you know, the evening ended alright. I mean, she was killed soon afterwards, but... Yeah, you can pick a lot of fault with Skyfall, and we have. But, yeah, this is very... Yeah, even the way they're all connected was very like Skyfall. So it's cool. I like it.
Oh yeah, talking to each other. Yeah.
All we're missing is "Don't touch your ear."
No, that was.
Yeah, literally.
No, that was Casino.
No, he said it. It was reprised in Skyfall.
Was
he
it?
He says it to Moneypenny in the casino as they wander around talking to each other. Don't touch your ear. And I think that was a deliberate Casino Royale callback.
Yeah, it would be if it. I don't remember it, but yeah, it would be if it was there.
Well, unfortunately, I've got this on mute, so I'm missing some hilarious accent work here.
We can read him whilst you're here.
Some real drawl American kind of put on.
To be honest, I mean, it's so bad, they might as well just go like Becca's impression of Homer Simpson. You know? Hello, I don't know.
I'm CIA, don't you know?
Alright, sir, what's your own name? I don't know.
That's subtle, isn't it? Talking down your sleeve.
Hello. He's like the most inept CIA agent.
He's actually alright at his job, it's just the accent. I was just amazed they cast him. I can see why they went for that type. And everyone likes Martin Freeman, and I like Martin Freeman. If I can slate his accent to high heaven, I still like him. I'm still grateful he's successful in life. But his accent's bloody awful.
He's done alright. Actually,
He's done better than alright. He's an amazing career. But he can't do it.
I know, I was also being facetious. He's done fantastically well.
I just remember on the extras to The Office, like season 1 DVD, you know, or it may have even been the last one, it would have been the Christmas special. And he was saying, like, well, if it ends up I'm best known for The Office or only know The Office, so be it, and all the rest of it. And look at the career he's had since. The Office is almost a fucking
incredible
footnote.
Yeah, you know, Sherlock, Fargo.
The Hobbit. I know the films weren't great, but they were massive. And he was in them, obviously.
Yeah,
And he was probably, you know, he was, well, no one really slated him in the film at all, really. It wasn't like, none of the issues were down to him.
None of them at all, no, he was great. He's even played Arthur Dent some time ago now.
Arthur Dent.
And there'll be other things, but I mean, it just, even films that were really successful, not necessarily because of him. I mean, Love Actually, really, really successful film that everybody in the fucking world has seen by now. You know what I mean? So, I did think, I was surprised to see Claw so wasted in this film, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got an actor of his calibre and really underused. You think, oh, what a shame.
It is a shame, because given the fact that he was bland in Ultron, and he turns up, he's like, oh, actually, he seems pretty fun. I can't wait for him to turn up another. Oh dear.
There's also, this is like 3 years after Age of Ultron. You think that's a hell of a build up to a few minutes of screen time in total.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a shame, isn't it? I mean, but what can you do?
Yeah.
Maybe Circus didn't really want to hang around.
Yeah.
This is kind of like almost like one shot, isn't it?
Yeah, that was almost the equivalent of sort of the shot in the first Avengers film where they sort of went between all of them doing their different bits and pieces.
I was
very
thinking,
good at this, Marvel.
I was thinking that shot in Creed as well.
You're thinking of the fight, yeah. Single shot fight. Coogler's a talented man, and when you think he's writing as well. And up he goes. Up you go. Sorry, I just
Up you go, Neil.
still got engage wanking mode.
Yeah, I can't do the South African accent, unfortunately.
I'm not sure I can, to be honest. It's not for me to judge.
Operator Crane!
I think you can do it better than all of us, Chris.
Just go for Lethal Weapon 2. That's all. That's your go-to South African accent.
Okay.
Yeah, so I end up doing Martin Riggs, but just as he was in the second film. I've done him, but he's 2 years older than the voice.
You've gone around the world.
No, it's because the bad guys in Lethal Weapon 2 are South
I know
African.
they are Joss Ackland and
Yeah.
all that. Not that I've seen it in 20 years, so coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. Lethal Weapon will be happening in about the next half a dozen years.
Especially, I've held off watching it, and
Well, we know what the rest of this year is, but Lethal Weapon's not that far behind.
I'm not itching to get to it, but
Now we'll cover it. Talking of the Hobbit and all that, we'll cover them one day as well.
Or Lord of the Rings.
Thing is, that's going to be diminishing returns.
Yeah, I think I've
because
got those somewhere.
I honestly think the best film they did was the first one. I think they get worse.
I agree.
Well, not worse, because the original trilogy's not bad, but
They just get longer and longer.
I think the best of all worlds is that the extended cut of the Two Towers is really, really good. You wouldn't necessarily put it on a cinema screen because it'd be too long, but the theatrical it adds a lot of depth to characters, and even people like Boromir from the first film and stuff. So I really like that. But on the theatrical cuts, which is probably what we'll cover just because of time and shit, Fellowship of the Ring's the best of the films. And the Return of the King was a really emotional cinema experience I had an amazing time with. But it is baggy, and it's actually probably the weakest of the films. And then the Hobbit films, I thought, got each entry was weaker than the one before, and they're all weaker than the Lord of the Rings. So what you're going to do is cover 6 films where each film is weaker than the previous one. But it's not steeply downhill. I mean, all of Lord of the Rings is pretty good, and it'd be interesting to cover it again and stuff like that, because I haven't really thought about them critically for a long time. But
Do you think that you're in a minority to think that Fellowship is the best Lord of the Rings film? I think mostly people say I
don't think it's something that has I don't think it's something that has a consensus answer, but I don't think it's an unusual thing to hear people say Fellowship's the best one.
Because I absolutely agree with you, Dave.
Obviously, you miss Gollum and stuff like that, but the Two Towers in the cinema felt fairly long. Obviously it's got no definitive ending, and all the jokes about them just walking. You really feel that when you watch the second film. It just feels like, different sets of people having a bit of a fucking walk. The third film didn't have that the first time I saw it, because it was quite emotional. I mean, when Sam says, I may not be able to carry the ring, but I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you, and stuff like that, and the music swells, and I had tears. I found it, but if I went over the years as I've gone back to watch Return of the King, it's baggy as fuck. It's way too long. I think Fellowship is the best film. It's the most stylish. You've got all the Bree stuff, and lots of different.
You actually feel like you go on a journey with that film. I mean, that I think that's the key thing. You start in the Shire,
whereas the Two Towers feels a bit of a holding pattern.
Yeah. You get the chase for the ring wave.
Just to pause you there, to just pausing you there. That got big laughs in the cinema.
Yeah.
Her just arriving.
Yeah, that was quite a funny scene.
Yeah. Really great action sequence. We haven't said much during it. I was watching John Wick the other day, thinking how are we going to review those films when you just go in and then some action happens. But to be fair, there is a through line through all of them that you can discuss, and there are narrative issues and world building. We'll be okay. They may not be our longest podcast, but they'll be okay.
I'm looking forward to.
And I think I'm going to have stuff. Have you not seen it yet?
Not yet, no.
Oh, I saw it on Friday, so I have seen John Wick 3.
Is it as good as the reviews are saying? I've heard a few 5-star.
I didn't give it a 5-star review, but it weren't far off.
4.5.
I think the 3 films are really similar quality, and they have different strengths in different areas. like the first one is just so lean, whereas the second one I thought was baggier, and it was also the setup at the start of the film. That Santino character might as well have pulled up at his house and said, "John, we need another John Wick film. Are you ready to oblige?" Because the setup's really weak, and some of the and how much currency you've got with it is how far you can go with the world building. Because I thought the bulletproof suit was a step too far, to be fair. But it's beautiful. The stuff in Rome is beautiful. Some of the action sequences are beautiful. There are 2 or 3 set pieces in the new John Wick film that are just fantastic. See, I'm going to say there is one sequence that made me think this is really Jackie Chan, and I'll be interested to see if you spot that. I think it's got more variation in sort of weapon and style. The second film, towards the end of the film, it seemed like he was flipping them all to the floor, sticking a leg over the top and then shooting them in the head. It literally seemed like the same move over and over again. And I find more variation in this film. But what I'll say by contrast is it's too long. And I don't mean it drags particularly, but the middle act of the film you could almost cut out. Because he basically gets out of the country. I won't say too much about it, but he has a goal while he's out of the country, and that whole goal gets undone as soon as he comes back to the United States. And it's padding.
So he's like gets out of the country to do or get something, and then comes straight back again. Where like
I'm not going to spoil it, but what I'm saying is it was a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
And also it's got one of the silliest bits of casting I've ever seen. Jerome Flynn is in this film, and the character he's playing, the last person I'd have thought of, male of that age, would have been Jerome Flynn.
Yeah, that's really odd, isn't it? I remember.
Have you seen it, Becca?
Does he do a duet with?
I heard about that. I was like, what's he doing in that film?
Well, he's playing a fucking Italian for a start. Or it looks like an Italian, anyway.
I'm glad you did it with him, because I was like,
it's mental.
what? I couldn't believe it.
It's mental. But when you look at them, while there are flaws in Rotten Tomatoes, because Rotten Tomatoes never measures degree of opinion.
No.
So if 100% of critics go, then it gets 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas 80% might think it's the greatest thing in the world, and 20% struggle with it. You know. So it isn't perfect, but when you look at the John Wick films, they've all got remarkably similar Rotten Tomatoes scores. And I think that's kind of fair. They're all similar. They've got strengths in different areas. The first was fresh and lean. I think the second one has bits where they're pushing the limits of the world a bit, and they do bump up against those limits. The third film is a bit of a mixture. Certainly, I think some of the strongest action is in this film.
Obviously I've not seen the third film, but engaging by the second film, it feels like the middle act, which is kind of all set up to the next act. I don't know if that's valid. I don't know because I've not seen it. But
we'll talk about. Well, we're going to review it this year anyway. Depending on time, if we run short of weeks for anything, then the other ones are priorities. Like if we need to lose 2 or 3 weeks, then it will be after the Terminator. But the intention is John Wick will be this year. So we will cover them. We'll talk about them in some depth. But I think it's one of those films you need to watch fairly close to recording, because I think you need to. We're going to have to discuss some of the nuances of the action, otherwise we're going to have very little to talk about. So I think it's one of those things that like watch and then record immediately sort of thing. But I certainly don't think it's a step down. But the first film was like 10 minutes or so shorter than the second one, and there's a similar increase in length again. And we're still only talking like 2 hours and 10 or something, and that's with credits, so, you know, a couple of hours or whatever. But it just feels like, you're adding stuff you don't need to add now. John Wick should be like, I think the first one got it right, it should be like 100-minute film.
Yeah, I agree. Something like that should be.
But I mean, we've just been talking about Lord of the Rings. You're not going to go in and see Return of the King. It's not like fucking 4 hours or something. It's not that bad. It's not really bloated. It's just there's some discipline missing in its story choices.
Like for whatever reason, that when I originally looked up its running time, it came up as it was nearly like two and a half hours. I was like, what?
I think it's 131
But it's actually 2:10
minutes.
in it.
Yeah,
It's 210,
131, something like that. But I mean, I had to look that up. I wasn't struggling with it. It really isn't that bloated. But there's a whole section of the film where I went. There's one action sequence in particular that's quite innovative, but it runs too long, and that's within that section of the film in Casablanca, which is a little bit unnecessary. And hence, I'm just thinking this doesn't have the discipline of the first film. But the action's brilliant. I mean, there's an action sequence within the first 5 minutes or so that's just like that. That's an all-timer. It's brilliant. So you'll have a great time. It's not for everything I've just said. It's not like it's a massive drop in quality. It's not. All the John Wick films have been good. It's just you point at slightly different flaws with each of them.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing them.
I think you'll have a great time with them, Becca. They are.
Apart from the animal cruelty.
That's quite harsh at the start of the first one, I will say. You don't really see anything though, Becca. I mean, it's not like they're really hurting an animal, but
No.
it is tough. I mean, we're all a bit soft on animals, you know. It's like, oh fuck.
That's supposed to be kind of like the point.
That's his motivation, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit deeper
It's
than
like,
like
you killed my dog.
But the motive
is a bit deeper than that.
The end of
but
without giving
I'm
it
sure,
away.
yeah.
Without giving it away, Becca, the end of the second film is a total like, oh shit moment. Yeah, in
It was
a
a
good
dog
way.
all along.
No, but you know the whole where that film ends, you go, oh my god, that means film 3 is going to be, oh my god, you know. And then so film 3 has a lot more reason for being than 2.
Yeah.
In 2, because the first one had to stand alone, it was finished, it was done, and then film 2, they have to make up an excuse really to get him going again. So on that basis, 2 might just be the weakest of the 3. I don't know, but it's also kind of really theatrical because you get a lot more of the lore. Because it is like Assassin's Creed done right. Because it's a whole closed sort of community of assassins with their own currency, their own rules, their own lore. Like Highlander, they've got sanctuary places where they can't conduct business and stuff like that. It's cool. You'll love it.
Can't wait.
But yeah, Lord of the Rings. Fellowship,
you were saying that you thought the first one was the best.
Fellowship, you really go on a journey. You start on the Shire, you have the whole chase with the ring race, which is terrifying.
Yeah, the ring races are never covered in the same way. In the second one, they're on this flying thing. It's not the same as them on horses, is it?
Yeah, it all just like that urgency of terror, which you think, oh my god, these guys are scary as shit. And then you have the breaking of the elves, and then you know.
Both what is it? Lothlorien, and it's been a long time since I've seen them. What's the other place the elves live? The Kate Blanchett and that lot are Lothlorien. What's the first place they go to where the elves are? Where they bump into Bilbo again.
I haven't seen these films since the release.
I know, yeah, but I'm embarrassed I can't remember that. But what I'm saying is that the design is lovely of all of it.
It looks beautiful.
Whereas the second one looks a bit barren by comparison because they're with like Bernard, what's he called, aren't they?
Yeah, there's just a perfect mixture of green and magic and horror and battle. You get all of that. Yeah, you get all of that in Fellowship. The other two kind of feel like the same. Do you know? Did you feel like the same kind of thing throughout the entire thing? So
I will say,
Fellowship feels more variety.
The last section of Sam sort of going up the side of Mount Doom with an exhausted, fucked, slightly messed up Frodo is extraordinary. But yeah,
Sam's the real hero of that.
Yeah,
that series.
Yeah, but yeah. I thought by the third one it was starting to get a little bit self-indulgent as well, because we joke about the sort of 8 endings or 11 endings or whatever. But the long lingering looks, you think, yeah, you're paying off a long journey in 3 films and 3 years. I get all that. But there's a little bit of self-congratulation in this. There's a little bit of like, look what we've achieved, you know. But I will cover them anyway. I don't know how soon it will be, but they're on that long list somewhere. I think, to be honest, it's a long time. I'd like to do Pixar at some point, and it's on the list, but like I wouldn't want to start it now because we're just coming out of a series that's taken us the best part of a year, and I don't want to go straight into another like 20 odd part series.
No, you do long, short, long, short.
I will say that. I will say this though about Marvel. It has feel like it's flown by.
I've not struggled with it. I'm not complaining at all.
No, but even like it doesn't feel that long. Like like Bond felt longer.
We did do more Bond episodes though. A lot more Bond episodes. Even on first run. And of course you're covering much longer periods of time with Bond. There's something about moving through eras. It feels more epic in its way. This has felt more like a jaunt, but yeah, what a waste of Andy Serkis this is.
He's great in it. Well,
it's really good. We didn't see him enough.
The lighting in this film's lovely, except that outside scene I didn't like early in the film. The lighting's lovely.
What is it they're actually doing?
They're harvesting the plant that gives the Black Panther power.
Oh, so they're basically giving it a good watering. I got you.
That area there is basically...
that's where they grow the heart-shaped herb.
Yeah, that's the only place they grow it, and it's purely... They explain it later to Killmonger. They're basically saying, well, this is for the future kings, the ones that come along later. And he doesn't like hearing that.
He burns it all up.
Nah, I'm your king.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it as far as Whittaker seems to be in like most things?
Yeah. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Like Quantum.
There are people everywhere.
Perhaps he's a florist. Forrest Whitaker, I was just about to say...
Oh my god, Florist Whittaker.
Florist used that expression.
Florist Whitaker, yeah.
Florist Whittaker, yeah, you can see.
I'm just looking what else he has been in lately. I tell you who is everywhere lately is Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
I keep seeing him in different things.
He's everywhere, man.
Because obviously he's in John Wick. Not literally, that would be weird.
The Matrix.
Well, I'm just thinking...
both DC and Marvel?
Well, yeah, but he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp as well, wasn't he? I'm just looking for it, actually. See if I find John Wick. So I need to see what else I've seen Lawrence Fishburne in lately. So it feels like loads. Ian McShane's another one, turns up in shitloads of stuff.
Yeah.
It's never as much as you think it is. But, yeah.
He turned up in the most unlikeliest of places. Which I won't go into here on air.
Well, that's a great story. Thank you.
No, I listened to a Jerry Anderson podcast, and Jamie Anderson was talking about a reboot of the Secret Service, I think, because it's the 50th anniversary of the show this year. And he was like, "Oh, I'd like to do a darker version of it."
Secret Service, I've not heard of.
No, is it Secret Service? I got it here somewhere. Hold on. The one with Stanley Unwin, where he talks a little nonsense. And we're talking about all the Jerry Anderson radio dramas, but Terrorhawks and Captain Scarlet, and he would like to do a radio drama with, instead of Stanley Unwin, who's sadly no longer with us, but with Ian McShane.
Okay.
So there's this kind of vicar, that obviously goes around shooting people up. So, but yeah, I was like, what? Maybe fresh off. What was that Western series? Was it Deadwood? And other sort of similar shows. So I was thinking that's a unlikely casting aspect. I thought that was quite funny.
Oh yeah, of course he uses claw to ingratiate himself. Yeah. Look what I got done. What your king couldn't get done.
Yeah.
I'm worthy, he's not.
Yeah, I've done this.
That didn't make sense on first viewing either, but of course anyone can challenge. On first viewing, he was talking like he had the right to the throne, and I'm like, but you're a cousin.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how monarchy tends to work.
Mm.
Yeah, because I think in a challenge that anyone from the tribe can challenge. Or is it? I don't know. Unless it's like anyone from the head of the, I don't know.
Yeah. As long as you can honestly say you'd be on the top table at a wedding,
Yeah.
that would be how it works. Hang on a minute, what's happened to me back?
There's no bullet in it.
Yeah. Look at Army Governor.
That's amazing.
Hi, I'm at Winchester.
That's some fancy PJs.
Yeah, quite nice pajamas, aren't they? Come on. I don't think so.
I mean, he's done pretty well, Mark Freeman, but his entire career is mostly pulling the Tim face, though, isn't it?
Well,
He'll probably
Tim was kind of fourth wall breaking. He would look at the camera and sort of go, you know.
Just pull that face.
Yeah.
That kind of look that says, really?
Think. Oh. Where's your phone?
And this is the bit where it all ends up.
Oh.
Most things are set up fairly well, actually.
Mm.
But I don't like the third act of this film very much. How much it will affect the ranking, I don't know, but don't love it, I have to say. It's getting better on rewatch, which tells me the characters and premises are essentially sound. I like being around it, which tells me the general sort of design choices, music, all that sort of thing are sound. But I still think of the film as like more promising than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's mostly how it ends. You think, you just wish it ended on a better note, but it's not as terrible, it's just...
But like, you can keep giving me films in this universe. If there was no Marvel Cinematic Universe and they suddenly came up with this, you'd go, yeah, I'll have 4 or 5 of these, no problem. I don't know where this was shot.
Africa, probably.
All right, cool.
On location.
That's fun, folks.
I see
In Wakanda.
you've got access to some cool information. I can't get at.
This is Fruity Fact.
Wales, there you are.
Wales. Sunny Amesbury.
Shot in Budley Salterton, you know.
In the Welsh Valley.
Film next door to where Chris lives.
I'm looking it up. Okay, so obviously the soundstage stuff would have been right. A lot of it was shot in Atlanta. That's all going to go away soon with
Get
all
them
the
tax rebates.
Well, that's all going to go away soon because a lot of these states are going to end up being boycotted.
Ridiculous.
But yes, there was a period of time where Atlanta, because like Baby Driver was shot in Atlanta as well, and I think Ant-Man and the Wasp might have been, or parts of it were anyway. Yeah, it was and it's all tax choices, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just
Like, come and film here, you'll get money off.
Did they do the actual? Because they could have comped it in. It might well be Chadwick Boseman never went there, but I'm just looking to see where they shot the sort of physical stuff. Additional filming took place in South Korea, well, we know that.
Yes.
Reference the car chases from Bullet Drive and French Connection, well, yeah.
Obviously.
Filming moved to Gwangali Beach. That's South Korea, so that's still South Korea. Additional shooting taking place at the Wenzori Mountains. That's on the border between Uganda and Congo.
Uh-huh.
And a national park in Uganda. So yeah, a lot of Uganda basically.
Yeah.
And there's some aerial footage of South Africa, Zambia, Uganda and South Korea.
So a truly international
Uganda.
plot.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Well, it wasn't Wales at all, Chris. You're fucking miles off, you idiot.
Neither was it Bradley Salterton.
Yeah. Part of the reason for Chris is obviously just coming to the end of his degree, so by Becca's logic, he will soon be a nurse stroke doctor of complicated surgery.
Dr. Chris.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Like, you know, when I've been in the hospital, like some people do ask me, so are you training to be a doctor? I'm like looking at my nurse tunic. I'm going like, no.
Wearing this outfit. Let's assume that because you're male.
Is that older people? Do you get like, but you're a man?
No. Granny's going, but you're a male nurse. So whispering it.
No, funnily enough, no. It's you get plenty of male nurses.
Well, yeah, I know you do now.
So not exactly rare.
No,
but it is more dominantly female.
It's fewer,
granted.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. It's more of a feminine fashion, but
yeah, caring about shit.
Yeah. It's more the nurturing side of it. It's very much more akin to that. But yeah, no. There's plenty of guys.
Finally, they've got a man who can stand and offer them a tissue at distance.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I've done that quite a few times recently as well.
Oh no.
I'm just like,
there's absolutely no reason to take this battle, but fuck it. Why not? There's no reason to take this battle at all.
No, it's a bit silly, isn't it?
well, I think the problem is though, it's how it looks as well. It's like, well, I could go like, no, fuck you, but then I look like a tyrant, and then I lose trust in my people. Word would. It would become like Chinese whispers. Like, obviously, you got like him being like, oh no, that's wrong. You're not worthy, and shit would just spread, and you'd lose the faith of the people. So it'd be like, I kind of have to just kind of silence it all.
You paint a picture of a hellish scenario, Chris.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of true though, isn't it? It's kind of like, shit.
Probably, but you don't have to fight everybody who fucking challenges you, though, necessarily.
No, you don't. But there
was the call to challenge at the point where his sort of coronation or investiture or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
All that water wasted again because they've just had to go and pull the plug out again.
Their water bills must be fucking through the roof.
Congo fucking disappears. Press
the magic button.
How are we going to pay our water bills? Vibranium, same as any other fucking question you ask.
That's the answer.
Right, have another drink of this. Yeah, I know we did this last week. Right.
It's becoming a weekly occurrence around here.
I honestly couldn't believe we were here again. I thought it was quite a major flaw in the structure of the film. Even that dancing thing they're doing, they're like, fuck, they look way less interested. They were like, oh god, didn't we do this last week?
I think that's the point.
Again, it's set it up, it's establishing what it is. If they just like,
yeah, I've come to terms with it over time. I think the film's really good, but. Okoye looks like she needs to fart.
Probably does.
He's holding it in. He's like, I'm a lady.
If you need to fart, write to us at expectustotalk@gmail.com.
That's so random. I'll get emails from Nigerian princes saying, I need a bathroom. So give me all your money.
Yeah. I'm really glad you carried on talking then, Becca, because I very nearly jumped in with a really ill-judged impression. And actually, your continuing to talk gave me time to think better of it. So thank you.
Oh, okay. I think I probably know what you were going to say. Anyway, let's just admire the naked bodies.
Yeah, but they're all male. It's exploitative. It's different when it's women.
It's called a double standard. Oh.
Yeah, it is. It's only male nudity in this film. It's wrong in my view. You sexist women.
Sexist clown.
God, us men, we're all for equality now.
Yeah.
Equal opportunities and all that.
I'm happy to show my knob to anyone who wants to see it. I'm just totally up and.
All you ask is women just show the tits every once in a while. I mean,
I know.
How do you open?
Yeah, I mean, they could have a couple of reaction shots of women in the crowd there, flapping them about a bit.
it's not even any side boob.
I know.
Dear Marvel, I
Yeah,
was just thinking about the
they could even turn side on and pretend to be looking at something else.
You can't even fake it. You can't even fake it and like just get close up of a fat guy.
Yeah, just really close in. Oh, look at those! It pans out such a fat bloke. Don't know if all you're interested in is bodies.
All I'm interested in is character, plot, story. Maybe a little bit of CGI on the side. I am your father. Oh.
Bit harsh.
Just a little bit.
Makoya looked like less like she needed a fart that time, though. So I reckon she's just been easing gas out in the last minute or so.
So to be fair, Florist Whisker did just save his life. So
Yeah.
Everywhere.
the movie would have been over if he hadn't.
And he did it anywhere in the county at only 24 hours notice. At reasonable prices.
Look at the range to choose from.
Available for delivery on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
You can let him know, just giving him a new career. Hope he doesn't mind.
It's plate lip.
Grateful.
Oh.
Isn't the guy who plays the plate lip? He's in the Bond film, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, River Tribe. So he's
one of the
Stephen O'Bannon.
He's one of the ones who Le Chiffre is desperately trying to sort of keep sweet.
Yeah, no, he's the River Tribe elder with the massive lip disc.
Yeah, which not to knock any of the cultural elements behind any of it, because largely I don't know anything about it, but it's quite uncomfortable to look at even now. Those lips stretched.
Yeah, I wonder
out
what it was like to wear.
Yeah, Bond basically killed him on the stairs. Bottom of the stairwell in Casino Royale. That's him.
And that's quite one of the grisly scenes.
Would you say it's a trope that kind of like that presumably falling to your death off a cliff into the water?
Yeah. Yes, it is. The tropes would be different if I wrote it, because I think those two should take pleasure in each other now.
Would that not be incest or something?
Well, I don't think they're related.
Not related, no.
And even if they are, they're actresses, we don't care. But it's more the fact that like we've just had male nudity. like you say,
You need to kind
standard.
of even the,
Yeah, so they should be,
Rubbing
that'll
their
be
naked
too-
bosoms like next to each other.
yeah.
That'll be like overly gratuitous though.
No,
You
because
sure?
we'd film it from side on, so it would look like it's just side boob, because the boobs would just be pressed together. We wouldn't highlight anything too naughty. Well, we
And
would.
Dave's ultimate cut. Oh. My phone's dying. Right, turn it off again. Come up here if you want to live. You can't deny this film looks beautiful though, for all its flaws.
No, it's lovely. A lot
Which there are
of
not
it's
many.
very, very low lit with just like little
Lighting
highlighted
elements.
sort of. It's a lot of sort of orange and yellow, and it's lovely. I'm off to meet me dad.
Yeah.
That looks like a set as well.
The Jurassic World set.
It looks very Indiana Jones 4.
It's like CK Blanchett with a bob.
Or the plastic leaves.
Yeah. They should start sort of sinking into
Quicksand.
quicksand type stuff now.
Dr. Jones.
June.
One of the worst performances from a really great actress.
Oh, she hammed it right up.
It's not normally a good thing.
Near.
Weren't in that film anyway. Yeah, she played essentially the same role in Thor, and she was really good.
Yeah, she was
Thor
amazing.
Ragnarok.
Was it the same role? Yeah,
Yeah, to do much the same thing, isn't it?
Female villain with a crazy hairdo.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Hell was a lot more like vicious and kill hungry, whereas in Jones 4 it just felt she was just a bit more like I'm a psychic Russian, Dr.
Psychic.
Jones.
Yeah.
Dr. Jones.
I'm a bit weird.
Dr. Jones.
Yeah, basically.
To be fair, she looked better as Hela, but that's just a personal taste.
Yeah.
Amazing, they all speak English to each other as well, isn't it?
Shocking.
Yes, this is him reliving his what he did when he was a kid.
Yeah. Not literally, because they're going to be like chatting about the fact that
Yeah,
he's
I'm
dead.
dead in that.
I doubt they had that conversation. What do you think of the fact that I'm dead? Bit of a turn up, isn't it? I don't know. There's layers to this. When you think about how T'Chaka and T'Challa talk to each other, and the setting and everything about it, and compare it to this.
But his dad here actually gives like a bit of a mournful look at the end,
Yeah.
which is kind of given he's supposed to be coming from the same place as his dad. Is what he perceives his dad. It's always kind of just how.
So when he just says everybody dies, I just think there's a little bit of sadness of like, I know what you're going to become now.
Yeah, it is very sad.
I've not integrated you into your society. You've been left alone, and your worldview is now extremely cynical, to say the least. I may just have ruined your life.
Yeah, it's almost like I failed my son. It's always that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so when they pinch a little flower.
Yeah. The implication as well is he'll be the last Black Panther now.
See, I much prefer the idea, the fact that the flower lady who he's threatening kind of just put a few aside or did something or get
Yeah. Hopefully.
Because rather than her just take one. Well, I suppose that still need to do that for the rest of the film, but I think that would have just made like people still had faith in T'Challa. It was that kind of like, well, we're hanging on to hope. We're not just gonna.
When I saw this shot, all I thought of was the first Thor film, because Kenneth Branagh was wanking himself silly on Dutch angles and stupid things like that. I like Coogler, but that was like a pointless gimmick of a shot.
Yeah, but the score bit really worked over it.
Yeah, it did have a good score.
Because he kind of had the the hip hop kind of theme as he just sort of like just strolls over.
Yeah.
It just kind of like just matched. It kind of came on nicely as it's like twisting around.
So they didn't go with the obvious predominantly black cast choice, Paul McCartney. Given Bond producers just fucking copy whatever is going on anywhere else, I'm amazed they didn't use like Isaac Hayes or something for that film. Not that I'm knocking the McCartney song at all, by the way, but it was just like, what an odd choice.
They just go with the overall sound of it now, I think. So.
Well, yeah, I suppose. I mean, Isaac Hayes did do Shaft. I don't know my date, so I don't know what came first. Live and Let Die or Shaft.
I think Shaft was first.
Yeah, so Shaft was almost kind of like the Black Bond. I don't know if he was perceived that at the time, or that was more of a...
Yeah, it was 1971.
More of a reaction.
Yeah, I don't know if that was more like sort of, opinion in retro, so retrospective take, but yeah, he's kind of considered as like the Black Bond, so I don't know whether that was just kind of like, oh well, we'd be copying it really, so let's try and do something slightly different. But I don't know. I don't know the thinking. I don't know the attitude at the time. Could just been like, oh, Beatles are hot.
Well, yeah, when you think about the sort of turnaround time to get a film made and stuff like that, they tend to pick who was big a couple of years before.
Yeah.
Like Duran Duran were past their peak by the time they did a Bond theme. In terms of like popularity anyway. And so yeah, I mean I know it was Wings, I don't know. Yeah, they'll pick things that were really, really popular a year or two before. Like Jack White, was past his peak, past the peak of his popularity by the time he did a Bond theme.
Yeah, because also you had like Seven Nation Army, which was kind of Bondish.
That was huge.
About 5 years before them.
What else? Yeah, I mean, I suppose I don't know where Sam Smith sits now today.
He's popular as ever.
No, yeah.
Probably on his couch at the moment, I reckon. No, he might be in bed. He might be in bed by
Lying
now.
on his money. No, he's on tour. We've got a new album out.
Obviously, Adele's popular as ever, so.
But even then, they probably chose her on the basis of an album she'd made 3 or 4
Yeah.
years before.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's to go with status, isn't it? You know, if they want this sort of iconic British film, so also to coincide with the anniversary as well. So it's like, well, who are you going to pick? Who's active? And obviously not Ed Sheeran.
The Queen, she could do a song. It was a.
Oh god,
jubilee
it's going to
that
be
the
Ed
Queen
Sheeran.
sang.
It's going to be Ed Sheeran for the next one, isn't it?
No.
It is, isn't it? It's going to be Ed Sheeran. They're going to do it.
It won't happen.
Who do you think it's going to be? He's going to do the yet untitled Bond film.
Oh dear. BTS. No. Oh, good question. I would like Paloma Faith, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Paloma Faith?
Yeah, I think she's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think she's going to do one. It'll probably be, again, like whoever's flavour of the month. So.
Whoever was flavour of the month, like, a year ago.
BTS? No.
Yeah, I'm a middle-aged man. That's noise. I don't know who any fucking one is. So, like, yes, don't know who that is. No idea.
Basically a Korean boy band. But, yeah, I don't really care, whoever they pick, just as long as they're good.
I always thought Ellie Goulding would be in a running.
Yeah, she's quite good.
I mean, Radiohead did actually...
Record one and it was shit.
Oh, yeah, they
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Well, it was just very Radiohead. It's like,
It was just discordant bollocks. It was rubbish.
Yeah.
I like Radiohead. I've got like a number of Radiohead albums. I probably would have classed them as my favourite act a while back. But like, that is parody Radiohead. What they did for Spectre. Just meandering, slightly discordant fucking mess.
As the new film, as Bond 25 is to do with the technology theme, how about Muse?
I don't know enough Muse to be fair, but I wouldn't argue with it from what
Yeah,
I
I
do
can have a
know.
listen.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing with the last couple of albums, it has been very much kind of technology at the forefront. And
I'm
also,
sure they did a
Was he with
song for
Paranoia?
Consideration.
I think they might have done, but no, I'd also like Muse to do a theme. I think it's right up their street, for sure. Especially in terms of what looks to be like the plot and or story of Bond 25.
They'll play. I suspect they'll play safe and pick a woman this time.
They'll play safe and pick Adele.
Oh,
Hi again.
They'd take Adele in a heartbeat if they could get Adele again. It's whether Adele would want to do it.
Yeah, she has some other commitments right now.
And they coat them in sugar.
It does look a little bit like that.
Pour
Snow, but it doesn't
some
look
sugar on me. Should have had that on the soundtrack.
In
Was it
your
on the Guardians
voice.
of the Galaxy?
That would have been amazing. Just Chris.
The
suddenly
voice of an
randomly
angel.
does-
Voice of an Angel.
Suddenly randomly does a song for the Black Panthers.
You should have represented us at Eurovision. We
Well,
missed
you know,
out.
Def Leppard and Black Panther joining forces.
Yeah, teaming up.
So I've just been finding out you're a shit dad, and we're a shit king.
Yeah,
Tell us why.
this is the last time I'm going to speak to you.
You're crap.
It's all your
I
fault.
mean, genuinely bad. What was that about?
I mean, for fuck's sake! I mean, everything was a lie. Son, do you really have to do this in front of everyone?
Yeah. Can we go off can we book a meeting room and just have a quiet chat about this? This
Should we
is
just-
embarrassing. I'm a former monarch, you know.
Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you talk to me like that, you little shit?
All the people behind Chaka should be sort of nervously looking at their feet.
Yeah.
Like, this is embarrassing. Look at this arrogant dick. He's only been king 5 minutes, and in fact, he gave it up briefly because of a stupid fight. Anyway, I'm gonna have to become king now and start giving like foreigners shit.
Yeah. Since the last guy nearly tried to kill them all. Yeah.
Can you imagine if the final act of this film was just like him peacefully reacquiring the crown and just increasing the foreign aid budget? That's it. The final act of the Marvel film. He signs into a law that like 5% of GDP is going to foreign aid.
That's fun, folks.
Yeah. The Black Legislator.
Alternate movie title.
Vaguely cat themed. I can't believe how wasted Angela Bassett is in this film. Actually, just because she's a name. If she's someone I'd never heard of, I think well she's fine for the part or whatever. But
It's taken.
She was better when she was Madge Sinclair, in my opinion. It would have been better if he was in the old suit and she had to like hide it about her person.
Yeah, I just think it would have been better if they didn't do the whole giving the powers thing.
Yeah. Oh well, it works. But yeah, the film's less interesting from now on.
And there's the guy from Us.
Which I haven't seen and probably won't see. Not because I've got anything against it, I'll never get around to that type of film, I never do.
Or horror.
Yeah, I say I don't dislike horror anywhere near as much as comes across, but it's just never ever my first choice. Very rarely the way I want to feel in life anyway. And I never get round to it. And sometimes something horror will go on my to-do list, and then it becomes a to-don't list.
Coming soon on Do You Expect to Talk?
It's like Get Out. I
Yeah.
had that on like a Netflix queue or now or whatever it was for so long, and every time I went to it, I ended up watching something else.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. But a handful of horror films are among my favourites, but they tend to be really old ones now, so there's a hint of, I don't know, classic or, I don't know, nostalgia about, I don't know. But yeah, by and large, if I had to lose a genre of film, I'd lose horror before I lost to anything else.
Mm.
And when you think musicals are a thing, that's saying something. Because musicals are weird, aren't they? You're following a story and then people just suddenly burst into song. That's just weird as a concept.
Well, I mean, I kind of like wondered that, but I think, funny enough, it was when I saw Les Mis, I just suddenly it kind of clicked to me, like in terms of like how things in films. In certain films are just like it's in that reality. Do you know what I mean? So like some films have a heightened sense of reality of like, oh well, that would never happen, or well
in that reality.
Yeah. And it's just the aesthetic of that thing, isn't it? So that's just how it works. Funnily enough, I think musicals are kind of like similar to action films, and I think comedy is similar to horror. It's very sort of.
There's a bit of cross-pollination there, isn't there? They're not too a step or two away from each other.
Well, what I will say is comedy and horror both share the characteristic of the hit rates really low.
Yeah.
In that, like, I love comedy, but like 98% of screen comedies are fucking awful. They very, very rarely get comedy right.
Yeah.
It's the same with horror.
Yeah.
Most horror films I ever see are like embarrassingly poor.
And
Once in a while,
they have to be
really
short as well.
They
have to be
short.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
Comedy.
that's not like
when horror,
inevitable.
on the rare occasion horror gets it right for me, it's fantastic. But it's just so rare. Most horror films, I just feel like I'll fucking grow up. But comedy's exactly the same. Every time I go and see a comedy on the big screen, I'm expecting to be disappointed almost. I'm like, yeah, these things don't normally work. It might be something to do with filmmaking. It doesn't lend itself to being able to judge comedy moments and stuff like that.
I just think a lot of it is down to a lot of them are just too long now.
Comedies are, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe it's just like just quite a few of them now aren't funny.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously, people disagree because I'm sure there are plenty of comedic films that people like, but I don't know. There's literally fighting hundreds of men.
Yeah, fighting
I was
everybody.
going to say, this does not sell me this is a nation at war. Basically, there are more people in the average school playground.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was all really, really underwhelming.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of people having a fight in the field somewhere.
Yeah, it is. Could have saved a lot of time if he just got Wakabi's girlfriend and said, look, threatened to stop blowing his
Go
horn.
on, sort your husband out, go on. What are them the things where people like dress up and have like fake battles?
What, like Sealed Knot and stuff?
I don't know what they're called, but you know, like sort of they
Sealed Knot is like Civil War reenactment.
Yeah, well they.
There's Viking equivalents and stuff
or
like
kind
that.
of like a role play thing, or it's like, do you know what I mean? It looks kind of like that.
It's not great. It's very typical Marvel in that Marvel have got very. I think the Marvel format seems to have learnt a little from like early George Lucas, the Star Wars films, that as Star Wars went along, certainly by the second film onwards, he started like cross-cutting things in Act 3. So you think of Return of the Jedi particularly. You're cross-cutting a space battle and Luke and down on the sort of forest moon and stuff. And Marvel have got very into doing that over the years. And it's certainly here as well, cross-cutting between different things. It's one of the main reasons you've got Elliot there, is to give you something to cut to. So you've got T'Challa doing what T'Challa's doing, you've got Killmonger doing what Killmonger's doing, and they will converge in a minute. And at the same time, you've got like Elliot doing his thing.
Yeah,
I think George Lucas is very. Maybe there's a bit of film history I'm missing here, but that feels very George Lucas to me.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi.
And of course that's part of the sort of standard format of those films now. So Star Wars routinely cross cuts in the third act anyway.
I mean, it makes sense because you feel your natural incentive is to something to cut away to.
Yeah.
Because it's like, alright, well, let's not. Because people start getting bored if we stay here, so let's.
Yeah. Well, that was some iffy CG there. Iffy in relative terms. Marvel CG is always okay. But every now and again, there's an element where you go, yeah, okay.
Always, yeah. Build up energy, you're not gonna. He's quite good at the bad guy thing, though, I must say. Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. Michael B. Jordan. Need to look him up a minute just to see what I've missed. I know he's really trying to get together a Thomas Crown Affair remake. Which, I mean, if he started now, it's not going to be for a couple of years, so it'll be like 22 years or so since the Pierce Brosnan version, which is fine. I'm just looking up a minute. See, Black Panther 2 hasn't even officially been announced yet, but we know it's happening.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan. Let's have a look.
Who do you cast as the female lead in that film? With Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, no idea. I wouldn't even know where to start. You're looking for around the same age as him, aren't you? So, probably. So, someone born around late 80s. She's generally that role's an insurance investigator. You got to have someone comes off as quite smart and sophisticated. I don't know.
Renee Zellweger, there you are.
Yeah, about 20 years too old.
No. Russo.
You could do worse than Emma Stone when you look at the age. Yeah, somebody like that. You are looking for somebody who was born late 80s, probably. And she was born 1988, so perfect. Okay. Yeah, I got really bored during this stuff.
Yeah. What with the CGI fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's standard Marvel. Fight a baddie that's basically the same as you.
You enjoying this, Becca?
I kind of dragged a little bit towards the end. But I mean, it still looks great. Like visually, it's still, it's still fine. I just kind of feel like we're kind of reaching the end now. So it's kind of like the final last, point over the finish line.
It's like you're just waiting for it to end. Like, okay, fine, we're getting there.
I mean, it's still
we got the gist. You're gonna fight.
It still looks good though. I mean, there are a few moments in this film where the CGI or kind of visuals kind of drop to a minimum level. So. And plus, it's like go to midnight. So. Obviously not now when you listen, but there we go.
No, that's it. Listeners, you now have to listen to it.
Yes, at night. You're not allowed to do it any other time. This was
going to be a late recording anyway, but then we had sort of like connection problems and God knows what else. And then on top of that, we tried to work out our future schedule on top of that, based around leave and weeks we've lost and stuff. Let's say we haven't missed a week from your guys' perspective, but we haven't recorded for nearly 3 weeks. So yeah, we're trying to figure that all out. I don't think we got underway till about 9:45.
It's all good. I don't mind. It's a good film.
I was just about to ask Becca what our favourite Marvel film is, but I guess we'll find that out
next week. We'll find it out
next
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't ruin it.
Exactly.
Oh, brilliant, Chris. Just blown the fucking rankings episode.
Or the Dark World. Oh, spoiler alert.
Well, I can imagine that will be at the extremities of our list.
The highlight of Endgame was revisiting that film.
Yeah, but it kind of was. It was a really strong part of Endgame.
Yeah.
Biggest problem I've got with ranking this time is less about position and more about the fact that my approach is not consistent from one film to the next. I'm sort of part preference, part quality, part expectation, part what it was following. You know what I mean? I'll explain it all when we go into the rankings, but like, I agonised over my bottom three. Not the bottom three was the bottom three, but the order of it and the logic behind the order of it, I really agonised is too strong, but I kept changing my mind on it. I had a similar problem with the top two. I had a similar problem with a run of 2 or 3 films in the middle. Yeah, it's not the easiest ranking list.
Yeah, I keep mine fairly simple between quality and personal.
It's largely preference, I have to say, but it's not that. What I'm saying is, I was tying myself in knots over it, so I just kind of went with preference. But even then, I'm not 100% consistent there, because I've ranked a couple of things, below stuff that I like less and things like that. We'll talk about it as we get there, but I think that'll make for an entertaining episode because there's tons of caveats to everything you say. So when you're starting to say, well, I've put this there, but I thought about putting it there and I wasn't sure because of this, so my logic is that. That's all the stuff that make rankings easy, a rankings episode interesting, because otherwise you're just literally saying, what did you put there? Oh, right, I'll put this. It's all about how you justify it anyway. It's not about right and wrong, it's only an opinion. And I think Marvel is a series you could rightfully rank lots and lots of different ways. I think most of the films sort of belong in a certain sort of third, if you like. But no, I wouldn't say much more than that, and a couple of those are a matter of opinion as well. There's the odd one in there that I've ranked for its importance and things like that, A bit like I did with Bond, I put GoldenEye higher than I wanted to, just because it's a really important Bond film. You can't deny it is. Right, now stop twatting around, or I won't play with you and shit. Oh, fuck that. I love the way he has a look around like it's moral and not just he might be denied a bit of loving. No, I made a moral choice.
Yeah. It's all for show, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, no, he's having a look around going, oh yeah, I see the destruction. Oh no. Not just, fuck, am I going without?
But, I mean, what about people who are probably already dead by now?
Yeah, like I say, easy defence, they're all actors.
No one ever died.
I'm surprised you never used to see that in episodes of Perry Mason and stuff.
What, defence?
Yeah. Fuck whether I'm guilty or not, they're all actors. So, in fact, I saw one of them on the bill last night. That fight was lame, but there you go.
Nice finish, though.
Yeah. Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah. Ouch.
Ooh, nasty. Did everyone actually remember Nightmare?
What, the kids
Yeah.
game thing? Yeah, vaguely. I never really watched it, but I saw it. Often it would be on when I got home.
Yeah.
So you put it on and you watch a minute or two, and then. But I didn't really like it that much.
I remember watching it. Well, obviously, it was when I was a very young age. So, I used to sort of carry the spider bit when there was the big spider game, or where you have to maneuver out of it. I was like, no, I can't see. No, that's horrible. No. But apart from that. Yeah, so he gives Killmonger a
hand job.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
Why not?
Right, right. Stick with me on this, Eric. Right, I'm going to sit you down here. Have you seen Blade 2? Right, you'll love this. You have it. Isn't it ironic how similar this is?
Hang on, just before you die, right?
Yeah. Can you hang on enough? Well, if I fast forwarded it, we could just watch the last few minutes. I can show you. Look, you won't catch fire though. I just thought it was a similar visual.
But it's just a thought, of staring at a sunset that you've not seen before.
Yeah. You see how much leaner he got to play Adonis Creed, though.
Definitely.
Even in the body, because I think I watched that not long after this on one of my viewings, and not only is he slighter in the face, he's leaner in the body as well. Just hearing when we get to the John Wick series, I must remember to talk about their training regime for it, because it's fucking mental how hard everyone trains for those films.
He could probably actually do these things for real.
It's months of it. We're not talking like 6 weeks or anything. It is months and months of it. Many hours a day.
What would be more grueling? That or Mark Wahlberg?
Well, Mark Wahlberg lives it every day, doesn't he? Apparently.
That's crazy, wasn't it? Like, you get up at stupid o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but we can't. It's not like that every day, because obviously his situation changes day for day. You know, he travels, he has film schedules, he. You know,
Yeah, fair enough.
I can't see that being every day.
Yeah, we need to see more of this in the sequel. Or this street level Wakanda.
Though it does look very similar to Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Doesn't look that different.
I just wonder how such an advanced, educated society could have such lazy graffiti. But the answer would probably be vibranium, because that's the answer to everything else.
Yeah, it's a downside, like the creativity of graffiti.
Look at that behind him. That's not all like quality artwork. Anyway. See, now he should make some sort of pun about
some sort of quip.
Coming twice a year or something, and then credits.
Oh, why didn't you ask me?
Yeah, that'll do.
Or something. What does he say at the end of Living Daylights? You're calling me a horse's ass. No.
I'm sorry. No, he just does that whistling thing.
Oh, he does, yeah. Okay, no horse.
No, yeah, he says something like about think I'd missed this performance or something like that.
Oh, I think I missed some cheesy line, isn't it? I think I missed this performance.
This is the furthest I've ever flown for a blowjob. That sort of thing. I think on the basketball court it should have been all the same people who were playing in 1992, but now middle-aged men. They've just not moved. All the same people.
Still wearing the same clothes, so they're just like really...
Yeah. Really tattered. Just
really tight fitting.
Give the impression they've literally not moved. So, Shuri, what I've done is I've bought 3 utter shitholes and you're going to run them.
Enjoy.
Bye. My ship's over there. Bye. She looks delighted, doesn't she? Oh no, she does now, actually, to be fair. The science and information
Are you trying to get rid of me, brother? No, not at all.
She's just going to be just as busy.
He just pressed that thing on his necklace to wrist, you know. Bracelet, that's the word.
Yes.
He could have knocked it. He could have just knocked it against something, and that would have happened.
Or what if he pressed the wrong button and it could have just destroyed everything around it?
Yeah.
Activate weapons.
Is pawn and cloaked. Oh shit! Nice hopeful note to finish on, though. Hey, I'd like to come and talk to you as a representative of a troubled neighbourhood to say thank you. Who are you? Batman. No, hang on.
I'm your father. This is a really cool credit sequence.
They've all been really good in the last few years. They've really upped their game with this sort of...
See, it cuts...
It's like a Bond film. It's so pretty.
It cuts to this really nice looking credit sequence. But
Yeah.
I like to think that he's actually said, rather than say, "Who are you?" I'm Black Panther. He said, "Who are you?" Mind your own fucking business, you little shit.
Yeah.
Stick your nose out.
What's
Who
the
are you?
team?
Panther. Black Panther.
You can't just do that, you know. You can't just go up to random strangers and demand to know who
Who are
they
you?
are, you little prick.
Sort of, you know, you get.
In fact, I'm
What's up
going
with
to set up this institute to teach little shits like you some manners, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Actually, bollocks, I was going to do a science and information exchange, but you're such a bunch of arrogant
No,
twats.
you need to get. I'm not going to now.
Forget it. Yeah. I just blew out a definite shag to fly over here.
Oh, rude. Lazy boys.
I think you're in some...
Original songs by Kendrick Lamar, as in like song.
Well, there's
Is
a load of them on.
I didn't realise there were other songs.
Well, I had several to choose from when I was like trying to put trailer music together and stuff like that. On the original review, eventually went and picked James Brown because like Chadwick Boseman played him, and I prefer that.
No, but it actually said like in the title, it's like original songs by Kendrick
There
Lamar.
are
It's like,
several songs. Go onto YouTube, you will find loads of them. Well, how many are in the film? I don't know.
yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, really? Okay.
It kind of washed over me. With Angela Bassett as not Madge Sinclair.
Not.
And Forrest Whitaker as I thought I thought he was in loads of stuff, but I was sort of thinking of Lawrence Fishburne.
As not James Earl Jones.
Yeah. Black Panther. Right, so now they're at the United Nations in Austria.
And he's basically doing his Nelson Mandela.
Hello, I'm from Wakanda. My name's Tom Selleck. Now, this moustache does some very interesting things.
Yeah, so you know that the bit about you all thought we were like dirt poor. Well, yeah.
I'm T'Challa, and with me is the head of my protection team and some bird I'm nobbing. Most underwhelming offer ever. We can share everything we have. And they're like, but you're third world.
You so know, like, the reality is, they would get a ton of shit for this, for like saying, hang on, so you've just been lying to everyone this entire time. Whole Africa's been a load of shit, and you've said they've done nothing.
Yeah. The other thing is, in reality, they probably would be receiving like foreign aid and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have been isolationists, so they probably haven't taken anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
They're all smug now. Look at them, smug bastards. Yeah, he's all like, oh,
You're gonna tell him.
Vibranium is the answer to that question.
Yeah, and then,
Vibranium.
I don't think so. He's gonna say vibranium, and then he's just gonna go like, "What the fuck's vibranium?" And then he's gonna tell him, and they're gonna go, "Bullshit."
Captain America's shield.
Rubbish.
Like, right, okay. How does that have practical? So they'll say, in reality, right? They all know it. They would get the reference to Captain America's shield.
Yeah.
And then he would try to convince them that they can revolutionise everything on the basis of a very hard metal.
Yeah.
That absorbs energy. There you are.
Brilliant. It is the answer to everything, though, vibranium.
Yeah,
Did all the
that
surgery
will be
and
one
everything.
answer to that question. So how are they going to do it? Are they going to do it in a way that, be like, is it just going to reveal the truth about Wakanda to the world, or are they going to do it in a kind of way that, they must not reveal their true identity?
And I don't know where Clouseau was. He was in all the rest of these fucking films.
You know what I mean, sorry.
I didn't see Paris once.
Shocking.
Yeah, it must be in the Kugler Cup.
The Kugler
Oh,
Cup.
can you imagine?
People are still banging on about the fucking Snyder Cut all these years later.
Oh no.
I still want to see the Snyder Cut of Just a League, just because I'm just
He's
curious.
got one somewhere at home.
I want to know.
Yeah, I know, but it's just this sudden retconning that he's some misunderstood genius
Yeah, I
and
know.
we've been denied something, and it's like,
No.
I think any film is better made with one vision, even if that one vision is two directors. I don't have a problem with, like, the Russos, for example. But, like, yeah, him and Joss Whedon are... The pairing of those two as, like, the two creative forces on that film did speak to a studio that are just, like, picking successful names as opposed to, like... Because those two do not go together. They just don't go together at all. So, would I rather see what one of them would have done, just one? Yeah, but am I confident it's better? No. I mean, if you're calling it unreleasable and calling in Joss Whedon, then it was clearly troubled.
Yes, it is a shame, really.
Well, I think as time's gone by, it's kind of embarrassing. I mean, you look at like you look at the plots of things like is it Infinity War and Justice League are not wildly different films in what they're trying to achieve, and Justice League is just hilariously bad by contrast in scale, ambition, quality, everything. I mean, and it doesn't even come close to the first Avengers film. Not even close. So I think it's such a shame, and it's the lowest grossing DC film, I think. Whether that's changed now with Shazam, I'm not sure. But it was like the lowest grossing DC
Shazam
film.
did better, didn't it? So
You've got Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in the same film, with the Flash, who has some, popularity, and Aquaman and stuff before his own film, and it topped out at 600 odd million or something. The films are not. I can't believe how badly they've screwed it. Shazam, I don't know, Becca. It's not that big.
No.
It's done well, but it was quite low budget.
Sure.
Yeah. So it will be lower than Justice League. Yeah, its box office at the moment is 361 million. So it's not super high, but they only made it for like less than 100 million.
Oh. That's a long got it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think one of my annoyances about cinematic films at cinema these days is that nothing gets a chance to kind of just sort of. It either has to do well straight away, or that's it.
There's very few sort of sleeper hits, are there? I mean, there are things that don't open as big. I mean, you look at something like Wonder Woman, it didn't open massive and just had legs. And that does happen, but you're still looking at, in objective terms, a fairly big opening.
Yeah.
And that's not a slight on Gal Gadot.
No. It's
amazing.
It's just because, sometimes films just need time just to kind of find an audience, and I don't think films get a chance to do that anymore. They kind of like get hit by hit by all the promotional stuff, and then that's it.
I mean, the last thing I saw that didn't open enormous, and I don't think was ever number one, but just lasted forever, was The Greatest Showman. That was kind of an exception. That was just that. I mean, even now that's done very, very good money, but not enough that you would think that must have been in cinemas for 6 months.
That came out at the right time, because if you come out on, like, say, Boxing Day, like, releases tend to slow down.
Came out then
for
or
a
in the
week
new
or
year.
so.
I think we might have got it in early January or something, but it was counter.
No, it was Boxing Day. It was
counter-programmed
Boxing Day it came out.
in this country, was it?
Oh, yeah.
So around that time, releases kind of slow down anyway. There tends to be not much happening for a week or so. So I think that in itself gives you a chance to kind of like find your feet and become a hit. If it was released any other time of the year, I'm not sure. It might not have done the box office that it did.
So this is Bucky after an intensive 1 week's treatment or whatever it was, depending on the timeline of this film.
Of this cut sequence.
Yeah.
Because obviously she's like doing a bit now in LA or wherever it is.
No, overseeing the science exchange. She's not running those buildings. That was a joke.
Okay.
She's involved in that program, but no, Shuri's going to still be based there. She's Q.
Bucky's been off.
Sebastian Stan has always been relatively bland in this film, but largely they haven't given him a lot to do.
Look at that.
I will say one of probably the weakest part of Black Panther are the post-credit sequence. It just seems to be very, very meh.
Yeah,
I know, I'd go along with that. Yeah. So, anyway, that's it. That's commentary. That is also the end of our penultimate episode. We've finished covering the films now, in all but the most sort of
for now
general terms. That's it. 25 episodes so far, with the 26 to go. Social media, folks.
You can find me on Cinetronics on Twitter. You can also find all the old podcasts on the old website at cinetronics.co.uk.
You can find me at the Pasty Kid 1976 on Twitter.
And you can follow us on Twitter at Expect Us to Talk. And you can also find us on Facebook at Do You Expect Us to Talk, and also on iTunes and YouTube.
Alright, super. One to go. I can't believe we're nearly there.
Drum roll, please.
Becca.
Do You Expect Us to Talk will return with our Marvel Cinematic Universe Rankings episode